Okay, so there's a couple things I want to talk about. I even had to write some stuff down. So, let's see if I can keep on track. I'll tell you what's unavoidable. Like, destiny is unavoidable. Like, there's nothing you can do to change it. And it's so trippy because, like, I don't know if it's, as people are telling their testimonials and waking up and talking about what's going on in their lives and stuff like that. But this video I saw of this girl, and so she died in 2019. She was in a head-on collision. She was responding to a news report now that says that the people who don't have these are 72% more likely to get into an auto accident. The stuff that is, I don't know how more absurd, but it's so sad. Because I just saw this person interviewing all of these different people. It seemed like they were at a mall or something. He was asking them, like, if they did this and if and why and stuff like that. He wasn't being rude or anything. He was just getting different perspectives. And it's so sad. So sad. Because their whole perspective is based on the unknown, the unseen, what is hidden from them. It's just heartbreaking. That's what breaks my heart, like makes me sick. More than just the fact that people are going to be passing. It's the trickery. It just gets me. So, anyways, this girl, she was talking about how ridiculous. Because in 2019, she was in a head-on collision she was going 70 miles per hour. And so it was 2019, so it was before anything went down. So, and she was in head-on collision going to 70 miles per hour with no seatbelt on. And she kept saying, I'm here, I'm alive. She did die at some point. I think it had to be brought back. And then since she's had like 6 surgeries to try and reattach her leg or something. Like her leg's not on right or something. But anyways, the whole thing that, what she was saying in it, and this is the perspective of, like, when you have limited perspective, is there's a man up in the sky who chose to save her for something, and kind of gets in this ego, arrogance, kind of, like, I was saved, everybody else is dying, but I was saved. It's like, you cannot die when it's not your time to die. There is no way to get out of the game until your date, till your expiration date, till you have a date, you have a set time that you're here. A set time you get in the game. Whatever you do with your challenges while you're here, you're on a timer. And that timer can go at any time. You don't know. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for everything. But, where they think, like, this holy man in the sky saved them, and what a wonderful creature this man is to pull them out of all these people and save them, and it is good for people to get the perspective, that they have value, that they can be saved, but it doesn't work the way that they think it's working. It's like the reason you're not dead is because it wasn't your time. You can die before your time. It's impossible. It's just not possible. And it's so hard when you can see through this game, this illusion, and other people can't. And I swear to God, it's so crazy, because no matter how many times you try and say it, you just sound crazy. Like this long talk I had with my daughter yesterday. It's so funny too, because to them, like, okay, nothing's happened. You need to move on with your life and stuff like that. It's like, man, I understand life on such a different level. Such a different level. There's going to be so many things, once things turn the other direction in my own life. And they've showed me a lot of stuff about that today. For one thing, just as, like I say, like I feel a lot of times like this loneliness of, like you're walking and you are saying stuff that nobody wants to hear. So they're all back here because they all think that sounds crazy. So they're all at the back. So the biggest amount of crowd is back here. And then, so those of us who see, then we are up here because we have separated ourselves from the crowd because we see outside of the box. But when the shift occurs, they're going to be on the other side. So where they want to move away from us, that no, they're going to move towards us. It's going the other direction. And so that is going to be a big switch. Like they showed me, like that is going to be a huge switch in the energy. Because right now, you know, it's almost like you're chasing it. Like you get up, you know, you've got like 9 notifications. I mean, it's so absurd. It's just ridiculous. It's like in the first 2 minutes I have something, or the first hour I have something posted, it gets all the views, and then that's it. It's like, I'm not an idiot. Like, and everybody, you know, at this point knows that they're messing with it. Lots of people's accounts are being messed with. It's just really annoying. And this one's no better. They're doing the same shit. So, it's all of the censorship and stuff, you know, what they're doing. But so anyways, you know, I've talked about that a lot. Like you cannot go before your time. But when I hear people just say it and tell the whole story and explain it and stuff, it's like, man, people have such limited perspective. And it is so, like, not archaic, but like it's very primitive. It's like really primitive thinking. And they don't realize that because they've been so limited. You know, I think there'll be a huge jump when people start knowing what direction to go, you know, that they've been being misled and there's a different direction. Because some of the people that I see waking up, the stuff they're saying and stuff. This one lady, she was talking about some prophetic dream or something, no, this one keeps getting these messages. And so this message that she keeps getting is 22%, 22%, 22%, 22%. So she goes, I don't know what it means, but something. And I don't know when, you know, they talk about those different percentages of people being awake and stuff. I don't know if it has something to do with that. I had a weird one this morning. I've been up, I think I got up, the first time was like 12:30. I didn't want to get up. I was laying back there asleep, and then they told me, my own self, whatever, my higher self, told me to get up and go do the fire. And I was like, no, I don't care about the fire. You can just go out. I'll do it in the morning. I just want to lay here and sleep. No, it's like, nope, get up and do the fire. Nope, get up and do the fire. Nope, get up and do the fire. I was like, oh, you motherfucker. So I got up, came out, and the fire was just down to like some ashes. So I started messing with that. And Stella was back there snoring her head off. So I came out, I just had on the ocean waves and stuff. I was trying to get the fire going again. And I was just laying on the couch. And, you know, you can go into a deep meditation really quick with those ocean waves and stuff. And I kept trying to get the fire going again. And anyways, I just kept staying up and staying up. I think I laid back down like 3:30 and maybe dozed off for a few minutes or something. She woke me up. And that, I think, is when this must have happened. I don't know. But so I was laying on the couch, and I thought this was really happening. I didn't know it was a dream until I woke up. So I was laying on the couch, and then it was kind of like I went out of myself to show myself something. And it was weird. But so all of a sudden I was standing here where I stand a lot. And so I was just standing there, and I was like looking around the room. It was like totally normal. Everything was totally normal. And then all of a sudden it was like I started feeling something weird. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is weird. And in that show Kindred, which I really, really like this show Kindred. It's really, I think it's got so much cool stuff. I don't know, my mind is getting a lot out of that. So when she is switching into the other reality, it is like she can feel it beforehand. And it's like one starts shaking. And then as it shakes, it turns into the other one or something. It's kind of hard. But anyways, that's what it made me think of was a shift like that. So I was sitting there, I was like, so I started feeling this weird thing, and I was like, okay, is something about to shift? Is this happening inside of me? Is this it? Is this what's going on? And it was getting bigger. And so I went to the front door and I opened it, and Stella was laying there. She looked up at me and she was starting to disappear. And there was this white light coming out of her head. And she kind of made this like sound, not like a moan, but kind of like a, like what's happening? And so I got down on my knees and I put my head up to her head and up to where the light was going. And I just started telling her, everything's going to be okay. I'm with you. Everything's going to be okay. I'm with you. And so then I started feeling it was like this shift. And I don't know how to explain it, but it was definitely like I was being pulled back and forth. Like I could feel like it was a separation or something, like our body separating from our soul separating from our body or something. And so then when that happened and I started feeling these feelings, almost like it felt kind of like, like if you have been sitting on the ground for a long time and then all of a sudden you stand up and you get that like rush kind of feeling, how it kind of goes out all over your whole body. It was kind of like that kind of thing, like you lose your head for a second. So it kind of felt like that. And then it did like this pulsing. And then it did it again. And then I woke up and then I knew it wasn't really happening. And right as I was waking up, Stella was Winston. She wasn't Stella. But when I had gone out the door, it was already like a light body was laying there. It was trippy. And so, anyways, I was like, are they trying to tell me something about my own thing? Like there's been a shift in my own reality? I don't know, because they've shown me some other things too. Or were they trying to like ease my mind? Was I having a conversation when I was laying there out about something and they were showing me or something? And then, and were they kind of showing me what it's going to be like when the solar blast or whatever, this big blast thing happens? And if that was what it was about, if they were showing me like a precursor of what it's going to be like, then I would say that the problem would be for people is that people would feel like I must be dying and then they would leave. Because I think if you hold on or something, like there's so much about consciousness, about you being aware. It makes such a difference in things. But so it seemed like to me, if it is about the shift, and the only reason I say that is because back when I very first started hearing about the event, I started hearing so many different people talking about it, and people are still talking about. And like I said, I think we're still a couple years away, but I don't know. It could be, this is going to happen any minute. There's lots of weird sky stuff happening, and all the sky stuff is leading up to it. And the one guy who talks about the magnetosphere or whatever it's called, so more people were asking him about the plasma man, and so he did a video about that. And so he said it's written in like all of like old kind of texts and stuff. And it is, everybody I'm sure has seen the picture, because it's like a head here and it's like a stick coming down, and then it's like a U there, and then there's like a U here. And so it's like a stick figure with a U, and then a head on the top. That is, and it is called Squatter Man. That's what he was called before, but people are calling him Plasma Man now. But it is the North Pole is missing. Is that what that says? Because I had just seen somebody else say that. Matt. Oh, okay. So this thing is it's gonna happen at the North Pole, and it's gonna be massive. He said it's going to be huge. It's going to be up in the sky. Everybody's going to see it. But it's going to be like from the North Pole. So I don't know. I don't even understand all the stuff about our map. There's so much lies to our fucking world. So, anyways, that's what it's going to be. It's going to light up in the sky, supposedly, with this thing. And that is going to be like, I don't know if that's going to be part of the solar flash or the change, the pole shift thing. Like, we have a lot of things happening on the planet that we just don't understand because they're holding back truth from us. And who knows how much of it they understand. I mean, they're so busy just trying to, find some blood to survive. So, anyways, the shift thing, so to me, it felt like a rumbling, like you're having an earthquake inside of you, kind of, and it kind of messes with your, like, feels like you keep going in and out of your body, kind of. I don't know. It definitely, when it was happening, I was like, am I dying or something was happening? And then I think that is when I woke up so that they could show me, no. And the only thing I've gotten so far is just that, like, if you need to have awareness, like, you have control over your soul. Like, if you, and I don't know how this is going to go down with these avatars and stuff. And, and another thing, speaking about avatars, which I didn't even know this had gone so crazy. I was seeing a lot of people using this app, and it is, I think I might have even talked about it the other day. I'm not sure, but it was this app. It's some sort of AI app, and it makes you look like a cartoon. It makes you into this beautiful cartoon avatar. And so then all these people are doing it, and it makes you look, better than you look in person. Like, that's what all these, things do. Take your features and make them better. And so all these people are loving it, and they're going and just using it to where in a week 500 million people had downloaded or something. And that person who I saw talking about it was like, oh, I just love these, this is the best avatar and stuff. See, they all want to focus on something else, something pretty, instead of focusing on themselves and making themselves into the best that they can be. People will just accept the worst for themselves and then just go in and, make a cartoon person for themselves to live through. And then, so the thing that was being talked about on the news, though, about the thing was because in their, their, what is that called? Like the things that they always want us to sign or put a check mark or whatever, the conditions or whatever to use their stuff. In their conditions, it's in there that once you use their stuff, they have access to all. They own the pictures then, and they can do whatever they want with them. And the person was talking about you're selling your face recognition when you're doing that, and so it's a big problem. So who knows? I mean, all the stuff that they do with technology is all to blow up in our faces. I mean, gosh, my guides show me that like nonstop. And I just want to say this again too, is how mine works. For me, it could be anything, like one of the things was I was watching a documentary one time about garbage and plastic, and then they'll show me all this stuff in my head, and so I'll see all this stuff and I'll know so much more about what they're telling me, but it could be somebody talking about something, and all of a sudden they show me this whole thing, and so then I'll go and I'll start talking about it, because when they show it to me, it's just the same as if I had seen it somewhere else. It's like you see it, you know it, you understand it. And so I'll start talking about it. And since other people don't know about it, I always feel like, I sound crazy, but I've accepted that at this point. But then after I do that, then they start bringing me more and more and more information about stuff that I talked about. And they always do it in a manner to confirm to me, like, okay, yes, we're showing you, yes, this is what we want you to say. This is what we want you to recognize or understand or whatever. And I just feel like sometimes I think it is just easier for me just because I've been doing it for so long. I mean, I just feel like at this point so fortunate that I started talking to him when I was such a little kid, that it's just easier. And so one of the things, though, with something was crossing my mind while I was saying that. So let me see. So when I say the things and then they give me confirmation, and they're always showing me that, man, I can't remember what I was going to say, but I have a whole bunch of things. Oh, because, one of them was, so last night, this was kind of strange. It was so strange that I had to watch it, because it was like this German guy who has like a Harrison Ford hat on, thick accent, old guy. So you look at him and you're like, oh man, this guy's like a mad scientist himself. And so he starts saying that white people aren't real. We're not natural to this place. He's apologizing to all the dark people and all of the horrible crimes that the white people had done to the dark people, and confirming to them that yes, the light people were trying to hold the dark people back, and that the dark people are the natural people to this place, and that the white people don't come from here and we come from somewhere else, and that the darker people are all the natural beings. And so he's going through this whole thing, just like, and what's creepy about it, is this thick German accent, because I associate that so much with the mad scientist, and knowing what they were doing, with the, they even in that show Kindred, even with this one slave lady, she had something wrong with her feet. I would say probably some sort of infection or gout. Maybe she had like a lot of swelling of some sort. She probably had like blood pressure problems or something. She has some issue that was not being taken care of. And then this doctor, who didn't even see the reason why you would wash your hands before you would touch somebody, he that's how smart doctors were back then. And not only that, he was ridiculing the medicine woman for her witchcraft, because the absurdity by using plants. And then, but the one guy who, the horrible guy who has this plantation, he sold that lady for his doctor bills to the doctor so that the doctor could test on her and stuff. I mean, they've been doing it for so long. And in so many shows, they show me, like the people who were discarded, people who were put into the insane asylums because their family couldn't handle them, or the people who committed crimes, which, they set people up to commit crimes. I mean, they're doing it right now, starvation and stuff. I saw this guy was a rich kind of guy in England. And so he was saying he's leaving his heat off in his house. He said it's so fucking cold in his house. He can't even believe it. It's as cold outside, inside as outside. But he said, I'm not turning it on. And they've jacked the prices up so high. And he said, it's not because of that. I could pay my bill. But he's doing it out of solidarity for all of the people who are having to choose between food or heat. And it's really like that's what's going on in England. And he said lots of single moms and stuff, and they can't feed their kids. And he is like mad. He is disgusted. And then the government is sending out to all the rich people $400 extra bonus for them, for any of the things they need for paying their power bill. And the guy was so fucking outraged. He's taking his $400 to give to the food bank so that he can help feed some more people. But he was so outraged, and but that's the absurdity that's going to keep happening. And that is the draw to find where your soul is in alignment. Can you just be like, whatever, I'm going to sit here. I've got heat. I haven't been using mine. I used it one night when it was super, super cold, because I wasn't sure if I could keep my heat going. And we're going back into super, super cold. They're doing that again. But I've been using the wood, and I'm totally like, natural is better. The more stuff I see where people talking about it too, like everything about natural is better. And everything about the artificial is just that. It's making yourself into a cartoon. That's like part of the whole thing, like the absurdity that people have to see, like what a slap in the face when they wake up to what a trick, and that they were willing to limit themselves down to being a cartoon in life. So, But there was a bunch of other stuff. So let me think. So that guy, oh yeah. So that guy, so he was saying that the white people are all, that we are made and that we don't come from here and stuff like that. But then he started going up that we are the whites. We come from another place. We are, his whole thing. And it was like, he was going on and on about, we're all the whites. And like I was saying last week, the whites, I think, are void of color. I think they don't have any color. So I would not think we got our color from them. I think they are no color. I think the Palladians are light bodies. I don't think that they are in the same type of avatar as we are in this dimension. In this dimension, it's a heavier avatar kind of situation. It's more dense. It's like we're at the low bottom of the ocean, and you have to have that big old giant suit on. And the higher you go, you can just have a snorkel, So anyways, I think that, but I think that all of the DNA they mess with, because there's a whole thing about like the white people, like they took the DNA from the original people, which, for all we know, they weren't even animals. Like they're just trying to make like they're animals or something. Like, I don't know. But so they took DNA and then they took from all 12 different beings or different places, but it was also about the philosophy that they were imprinting into the DNA. And so I think that is where the other colors came from, is some sort of manipulation with like that. But I don't think like all these whites came here and then just all of a sudden, immigrated here and then they became, white people. He was talking to you about Aryan and Anglo and stuff like that. So I don't know. To me, the way I interpret it is that they've been being messed with for a really long time. And I would think that probably more like when they did the white people, it was probably more like at the reset with Noah or something. Because on that boat he had, supposedly had the DNA of all the science DNA was kept on that boat. It wasn't really two of all the animals. It was all the DNA samples and supplies or whatever. Like he was floating around on a big science lab. And so I would think that is when they did something. But no matter what the whole thing was, the whole purpose to white people was to create these droid, more controllable. And I think that is why so many white people seem to be out of touch with their soul. It's like, man, it's weird. Yesterday I was talking to my one daughter for a really long time. And that was funny too, because so she had said some stuff, and I think, I'm not sure. She was probably trying to argue. I think she's really a lot more comfortable arguing. It makes me super tense, but, I'm just not going to. And so whatever she said, it kind of got me like triggered for a minute, like where you start sweating, like, oh my God, what am I just go, well, I'm going to go now. Because I don't want to argue about like what's to come or anything. I mean, it's coming. It's coming. It's unavoidable. And, there's nothing. It's not like I'm creating it. I'm not making it happen. I'm just aware of it. And so whatever our conversation was, was stressing me out, but I did fine. I didn't get, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of opportunities when you go into situations with people who you have tense relationships with. And every time that you can go into it and go through something that normally would have turned into yelling and slamming the phone down, that when you can get past those kinds of things and start staying centered and not being triggered by somebody else's opinion or attitude, then, you're doing good for yourself. And so I was feeling good. I was feeling proud of myself because I was able to continue the conversation, keep my attitude good and everything, and, talk about some other stuff. But she was saying like, I don't, she was saying something like, you always say that this stuff is going to be happening, but nothing ever happens. And I said, stuff is happening. Like, I don't know how you don't know things are happening. Everything I've said has happened. And she said, the solar flash hasn't happened. I was like, oh, you're talking about the solar flash? I said, that's still coming. That's coming. There's nothing you can do about that. That's coming. And she goes, well, what are you talking about? And I said, the storms, the people dying, the people losing everything, all that stuff that I was saying was going to happen is happening. And at some point she said, well, you know, she doesn't go on social, she doesn't go on anything. So she keeps herself distant from what's going on in the world because it just stresses her out. She doesn't want, and I keep hearing this from all my daughters. And I think my neighbors said the same thing. Most of the people who are detached, it is the reason they do these things is because there's so much pressure put on them. Because they aren't paying attention to most things. Like my one daughter who has so many, oh, my throat is coming, hold on. One of my daughters that has so many, it's because work said you have to have them. My throat right now feels so scratchy and hot. Hold on. I don't know what the fuck. I'm going to keep coughing. I'll just go and then I'll come back. I swear this happens when. So, anyways, she was saying about nothing happening or whatever in the solar flash. And I said, it's still going to happen. Fuck. And I said, hold on, I'm just going to come right back. Wait, maybe it's going to stop. God, it's annoying. And I had said that was still going to happen. And so then she was, you know, it's just like she thinks I just think this stuff. She doesn't realize how much stuff I'm paying attention to. And she says something about, you know, you're always paranoid, so you're always paying attention to all this stuff I don't pay attention to. And I said, you know, exactly. And I don't know how, you know, she meant it like a snotty way or whatever. But then, so I said, she's like, I said, everything in this world, whatever in all this conversation, like I said, everything in this world is fake. It's all an illusion. Nothing's real. So when it happens, like a lot of people are going to freak out when they see the truth. And so she was talking about nothing would freak her out or whatever. And so she was talking to me about that show. And that show is the Zac Efron one. It is climate change promoter. And so she wanted me to see that because she believes in climate change. She thinks like I'm ignorant, that I don't understand it. Oh my God, the sky is so red. Maybe that's why I'm coughing. Maybe we're being sprayed. Fuck. God damn. So, I was like, God, fuck. So then I was like, this is how I felt too when I was standing up. Like there was something happening. I was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it feels kind of like that now. So anyways, she was saying nothing could shock her or whatever. And so, you know, she thinks whatever. And I was like, well, I don't know. There was a lot of stuff that was very shocking to me. So we'll see. You know, I'm not going to argue about if this stuff is going to happen or not happen. Let's have this conversation after shit goes down. And then you tell me if there was things that surprised you. I'm not going to sit here and try and, I said, I've already seen both sides of things. I've seen, you know, the side you've seen, and then I've seen the other side where the evidence is. I know. And so I'm not going to sit here and debate. Like, I already know. I don't have to prove it. Like, you will see. And then you can tell me, like, if you're shocked. I found a lot of stuff very shocking. And she's like, well, nothing can shock me. I know that this world is fake. I know this world, stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, then tell me after. And she goes, well, just tell me, like, what are you talking about? Like, what isn't real? And I said, climate change isn't real. And she was like, well, I mean, I said, it's made up. It's to get money from you. And it's to get taxes and stuff. It's all made up. And so all that stuff is a lie. So I don't even know if she knew it to say, like, that, that humans aren't even natural to this place, or white people aren't, that the earth is not really a spinning ball out in space, that, I mean, there's so much stuff. Like, I can't imagine all of this stuff that you would not find something that shocked you, but, I don't know. I am very curious to see. I said, I'm really, really curious to see when all this stuff comes out, like what you think afterwards. And so she said, she would tell me. So we'll see, I don't know if, she'll be shocked. I think that there's a lot of things that are going to be very shocking, but I think, it's going to turn a lot of people's worlds upside down. And a lot of people are going to be kicking themselves for choices they made, for just the embarrassment of, like, just wanting to just be a cartoon. Like, so strange. And, but there was some more stuff I wanted to say, so let me see. Oh, I don't know if I talked about this. This lady, she had punished her little preteen daughter. This little girl looked like she was like 11 or 12, but she had her hair all done. She had all this makeup on, but her mom was one of those people on social media who just, goes on social media, puts on sexy clothes and does her hair and makeup. And I don't know. I don't know this life. But so she was trying to punish her daughter. Her daughter had really long hair. It was all braids. And she just went in with scissors and just cut off every single one of her daughter's braids on film, filming it so everybody could see. And told her daughter that she would not prioritize beauty over school. And and this woman had some big following and stuff. So I don't know if I already told this whole story, but the whole thing blew up in the woman's face. She thought everybody was going to be on her side. What a good job, what a great parent she is. And everybody went against her. And so then she starts bringing her daughter out, making her daughter say that she's not harmed and stuff. And it was like, oh my God, this poor kid. And it's just sickening. But so then this woman, who was some sort of a profiler or something, she did a breakdown. Like, whoever her following is, they said that they wanted her to do a breakdown on this woman. She said, I'm not a psychologist. She was a corporate profiler. That's creepy. So anyways, so she was doing a story on that woman, and she's pulling up all this other video. That's how I saw that this woman's account is just all, oh my God, very, very, it's just, it was cringy as shit. It was so shallow, so superficial, and so desperate. And it's sad because, I mean, the woman is obviously super desperate, and she's obviously super abused, because she said, she wasn't abusing her daughter at all. She was doing nothing. I mean, this woman had, she had experienced such physical stuff that she doesn't do that to her daughter. It's like, that was physical assault. You just went in and took her down and cut her hair off and did it in a public, humiliating way. Like, what the hell? It's like, what in the hell? Especially your daughter is following in your footsteps. She's got all this makeup on and stuff like that. And then you're going to yell at her, like, walk the walk, girl. Sit there. Like, so many parents are such hypocrites. So, anyways, this woman was profiling her, and it was interesting. I was watching, it was like 5 parts. And she gets to the 5th part. And that one is just this whole breakdown on conspiracy theorists. She starts talking about the woman I don't even know how it got into that, how she let it in. If this woman had said something that was against, I have no idea. This woman starts just talking about conspiracy theorists are psychotic, that they are paranoid, they have no critical thinking, they are just, and they are so crazy and focused on things that don't exist that it was so, I turned it off. I was like, oh my God. So this woman got all this people to come in and listen to her, break this down, and then she's going to go all in on the conspiracy theorist. Yeah, I did a video after that. I was like, conspiracy theorists have critical thinking. If you think that people that you hear talking about stuff are talking about things that don't exist and they're crazy, you need to go do some research. You need to go look up stuff for yourself. There is no theories out there. There is evidence all over the place. And people who sit here and try and say, we don't have critical thinking, like, no, you don't have it. We're all looking through the illusion. We're using our critical minds. You're not using yours. You're just playing a part. You're just part of the narrative. And it was like, oh my God. But then it was like, oh, big shock. You know, she's corporate. She's just a fucking zombie person. So, anyways, that lady, that was something. And then, let me see, because there was some more things that I had seen. Oh, today is the 15th, and Trump said he's making a big announcement. And so it's obviously not that he's running, because he already made that big announcement. So who knows what this big one's going to be. Maybe it's JFK is going to be his running mate or something. Who knows? Like, I don't know. I just wish they'd hurry and start moving shit along. Like, come on. I bet. Anyway, so there's supposed to be some big announcement today. Maybe, you know, he's going to take his seat at the table and push the other people out. Maybe there's going to be arrests. Who knows? We all hope for something big, and then it's just more nonsense. So, I don't know. Hopefully it's something big and it's going to start everything going. You know, because they're sure pushing. Like, now with China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia all making a, you know, they're all in it together with their financial thing, you know, but we're left out. We don't get goods or oil or anything because our money's paper. So something, you know, something's got to give, you know. I don't know how long they can just keep dragging this shit out. It's so stupid. But then, let me see what the other talking to, let's see. Oh, this was, I saw somebody doing this footage where it was, like Congress or something. Like the inside, you know, like how there's a live cam. It's something where it looks like Congress. And they're supposed to all be in there and stuff. All the lights are out. And there's nothing. Like if you go on the live cam, somebody was showing that. And it is dark and there's nobody there. So that is going, so that's another good sign. And then, oh, and that baby making lab is 30,000. So it's not 300,000, it's 30,000 a year that they can make. And how many of these labs, you know, they want to put up? Oh yeah, and speaking of, you know, baby making, so more stuff has come out on McDonald's now. Because now there's a lot of people like, oh, so if beef is a problem, and how much beef goes to these burger joints? How much beef is thrown away? How much, you know, and so they're going over all of this kind of stuff, which I'm kind of feeling like, because I saw a woman showing all of this footage, pictures of all of this stuff coming out, the worms and stuff, and the flukes or whatever they're called, they're liver flukes or something. And it's noticeable. Oh, it's definitely noticeable. Like when I'm sitting there looking and looking, you know, like, and so this morning I was thinking it must be because I've never been a meat eater, you know, maybe a lot of people who have eaten a lot of meat. I don't know, but I don't have, like, man, a lot of like big worm. Oh, it was, oh God, like, man, that's freaky. But so, what was I saying before I interrupted myself with that one? With the worm. Oh yeah. So, there's more people talking about that McDonald's and the meat, and like, you know, how many burgers, how many cows that would add up to, so that doesn't make any sense. So where is all this meat? What is the meat? And remember back, anybody who is older like me, that when you used to go in the grocery store, there was those big windows at the back of the store where the guy was butchering the meat, and he'd have that big cow in there. He'd have that whole half slab, and he'd sit there cutting the meat for the day. Somebody else was just making a point too about, remember back when they used to deliver our milk to our door in glass jars, and we just reuse the glass jars. Then all of a sudden it's like, no, we got to use plastic on everything, and now plastic has filled the oceans, filled the like, they can't do anything with plastic. And the same thing with clothes, where clothes used to be made from wool and cotton, then they started making them all from plastic. Like, everything in this artificial world is just so. But so anyways, the people have been talking about the stuff. So whatever, I saw another news report thing of somebody, and I'm not sure how this is all going down, but investigation on McDonald's, and then went in and found a bunch of human meat in this is in Oklahoma, and they have, so like McDonald's has all its stores, but then they have their own meat store or something, their own place that they get their stuff from. So they have like their own butcher shop or whatever that they get all their stuff from. So they went there to do this investigation on their meat, and found a whole bunch of people. And they said small people, children and stuff, in a whole bunch of parts, like arms and legs and stuff like that. So then that furthered the investigation. And now they've been investigating more, and they keep finding more. So all that stuff is going to be true. That's going to come out. How much they've been feeding us people. And that's their whole plan of, because, you know, other people were saying, like, where do you think all these people that go missing all the time are going? Or doing something. Well, I had seen about that a while ago when I saw, God damn, about the pink goo. Because I had seen, it was one of those murder mystery things, someone about the pig farmer. There's like 4 or 5 of these pig farmers now. This one might have been a Canadian one. He was definitely up north. So if it was in America, it was way up north, or if it was in Canada, I don't remember. But he it had to be America. I've seen so many of these pig farmer people. But so he was murdering a serial killer, and then he would feed the scraps to the pigs. But this one guy, he was, the whole thing on this show, this investigation showed, so there's a place that you go, like if you have cows, pig, any of that stuff, you take the leftover garbage once you do the slaughter. You take all the leftover garbage. So that's what he was doing with the people, was taking the leftover garbage from the slaughter. But it was all with people. And then you take it to this plant, and in that plant, they turn it into pink goo that they use in our face products and our food. Like, that is a big part of McDonald's burgers, is that pink goo. And so that is in all of our stuff. So I had seen about that a long time ago. And so then when I was hearing more and more about the kidnapping and all the different things happening, I was like, oh my God. And just the whole thing with the clinics and the PP clinics, and oh my God, what they do with the leftovers. And then they want to just start these whole labs. Like, they just want to completely just start feeding us babies. And then look at Celine, that's what she's got, is that guru. Like, that is so fucking sick. And then they want to grow all it. Just this world is just so sick, man. I'm just so burnt out. Fuck, I hope this week is, I hope today's the big announcement takes us into whatever. Let's see, the Congress, DC, the McDonald's, the lab. I think I got everything off of there that I had written down. But anyways, there is you know, I don't know. There's lots of stuff that is happening. Like, and there's so many things. Like my feed is all messed up, so I'm not seeing all the regular people, which they've done that to a lot of people, because I've seen a lot of people come in saying, you know, what are you doing to my thing, TikTok? But then the people who I have been seeing are talking about, either they're talking about spiritual things or awakened things or things they're being screwed around on, or sky things. You know, so many people are noticing sky things, and that there's two suns and all of that stuff. So there was somebody who was showing footage of the trails, but there was nothing that was actually up in front of them spraying them. Like, they were just going, but there was no plane. It was like, is it shrouded? Is it like, are they using it? Because in the movies I had seen, they said that they were using, this was in the 50s and 60s. Now, one movie, I can't remember what it was called, but the guy who, it was Jacqueline, no, not wasn't, Jacqueline Smith, I think, was in it. And she had that rich husband, and he was, I don't know, some sort of oil or developer or something. And then he wanted to get into where the money was, the chemicals. And he wanted, it was something, you know, they were talking about the whole thing with doing the chemicals and stuff on us. And he said that they spray him out of the satellites. And he said, right now, there's too many restrictions in America. You can go do it in other places, but in America, they keep making too many problems. Well, I think they relieved them of all their problems. But I think they just spray us from the stuff. I mean, the colors in the sky and stuff show. And it's just so weird, because you see these people, oh, look, we're in the new world. Look at the sky. It's like, no, we're still in the old world, in the poison world. That is poison you're looking at. It's not... So, anyways, let me think if there was something else I was going to say. I feel so weird. And so, I've seen so many other people talking about it. It just feels so weird. Like, I swear to God, it barely feels like I'm here. It's so strange. You know, I don't know. Even yesterday, you know, when I was talking to my daughter, she's just like, you know, you need to start getting a more rational, you know, you need to focus on, you know, like a reasonable future. It's like, well, I'm going to keep focusing on the future my guides are showing me. Like, I'm not going to change that all of a sudden. I've been going at this for quite some time now. And one thing they showed me this morning, this was really cool. Because they showed me, it was something in some conversation, and they showed me that I was on a locomotive. Like, my future or my reality, you know, it's shifting, and that I'm already on the locomotive headed that direction. And then they showed me where I'm going to pull up at like a platform or dock or whatever. And the locomotive is really cool looking too. It looks like really futuristic, but really like old fashioned at the same time. It's really cool looking. And then the platform is beautiful, because I can see past it, and everything is green and beautiful, and it is like it is full of charm or something. Like it is it's like magical. And so to me, you know, they're telling me that, you know, everything, even if you don't know things are happening in your life, things are happening, and they're heading you to a beautiful place. I don't have to get off and go and start looking around, you know, that there's a huge surprise waiting. And yeah, and that was on my mind so much too, is because yesterday they, you know, he had been out cleaning his yard, which, you know, really needed to be. Like, they, you know, a lot of families, you just start throwing stuff out, and they're, oh, I'll get to it later. I'll get to, you know, your yard just starts becoming just a big mess, and your life starts becoming a mess. But then everybody puts all their time into going to work instead of their own lives, and then their own lives feel more and more chaotic. And so anyways, he was out there, has been cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. So I couldn't even believe it yesterday. He got the trampoline from way the furthest corner in their yard away from me, pulled it up right next to my fence, right there, right out this window. That's the trampoline. go stand in the kitchen, look out, there's the trampoline. So, you know, now I, what I have found, because I know, like I've heard lots of stories, you know, where in neighborhoods, the older people start fighting with the younger people, you know, because just a lot of things. Is you can see, like when you get older, you're not really like the younger people in neighborhoods, they are forming their own type of community, you know, with kids and stuff like that. And you get older, it's a different type of community. Like, I have no reason to be, you know, I don't want to be anybody's babysitter. I don't want, you know, it's just this, to me, it just keeps showing me more and more and more. Like, you're on the move. And that, I think, was why they were showing me the train. Because, you know, I'm not going to get mad and upset and angry and say, you know, that's really rude. Like, but, you know, I can see why that happens in neighborhoods. I can see why neighbors get really mad. And I can see, like, that is part of the chaos of them jam-packing us on top of each other, where we shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like this. We shouldn't just have this little tiny, you know, patch like this, like crammed up next to each other. And so then I was like, well, I'm not going to get mad or whatever, but I can see that they keep showing me that I've outgrown this place. I've outgrown it, you know, everything about it, that I'm ready for this change, whatever's to come. And I feel certain, you know, it's going to be a beautiful change. And I'm going to stay focused on what my inner knowing is, even if it sounds crazy and irrational. And that's why I don't talk about some of the stuff, because, like, I get enough of people who know some of the stuff, enough with the, you know, how crazy I am and I need to be rational and stuff. It's like, I'm not choosing this. Like, people don't understand when your soul is telling you something. Like, I don't know. I live life so different. And that was another thing that they showed me too, is the reason for that. There is a reason that when things turn, that there has to be people to follow. There has to be people that know where to go. And because there's going to be so much confusion. And, you know, there's people are so, I don't know. It just feels like it feels really intense right now. Like, it just feels super intense. Like, it's just going to feel like such a relief when things turn the other direction. Like, ugh. And right when I sit there and say, like, I can't go and have these conversations and be in this 3D world. And then my daughter, you know, she wants to talk to me about all this stuff. And it's like, I can't talk about this world like it is a real world. It's not real. And I'll just be so glad when everybody starts seeing this world for what it is. And life is what you make it. And, you know, change starts with us. So anyways, I'm going to go. I don't know. I might come back. I feel so scattered. I feel like, did I even say all this stuff? There were so many things that I wanted to talk about. But, you know, don't be triggered, like, by things, because there's things that are being pushed on you to trigger you. And it is like your test. It's like, you got to keep remembering you're in a game. Your higher self is constantly testing you. So when you go, like, the trampoline thing would have been a total test, you know, I could lose my mind. Like, what in the hell? Like, all this noise out here, and then I want the kids to be just right there screaming and jumping. And it's like, oh my God. It's like right at my deck where I sit out and relax. Like, now, you know, but it just shows me I've outgrown this place. I know I've outgrown this space, and I know I'm ready for change. And I trust the universe that they are bringing me something great. And I'm curious to see how all the things play out of what they've shown me and what's to come. So, you know, hopefully everybody else is feeling the same way, you know. But anybody can ask me any of this stuff. I'm sure everybody's having a lot of intense stuff. And I feel so certain that whatever they're putting in the water is greasy. Like, yeah, even yesterday when I was washing my dish, because I kept being about my hair. I kept taking it on as my own. Well, maybe it's my oil off my face. No, I don't think so. I think it's some chemical they're putting in the water. And then, because I was washing my dishes last night, and they felt slimy. And I keep hearing other people talking about, like, their ground feels slimy from this rain and snow. And then I was noticing that too. Like, I would walk outside and it was like, it's like this artificial chemical stuff. I don't know. But anyways, so, I don't know. I'm going to try and watch what the big announcement is if I can find it. If it's something exciting or interesting, I'll come back so I can talk about it. So anyways, have a good day and I'll talk to you later. Bye.